has been 3 years since any Spanish team has been able to make it to a European Masters final. It was 2018 summer when the Mad Lions stepped up for the Spanish region and took the trophy home, with the likes of Nemesis, Crownshot, Selfmade making their debuts as rookies. The Superliga has always been one of the most explosive and promising regions, bringing up and developing talented players that eventually find themselves on the big stage. This season, they have found themselves with their backs against the wall. 3 teams advancing through to the quarterfinals, 2 of them so far failing to make it through. Vodafone Giants is the sole remaining representative of the Superliga, the first seed, the last hope, with one last chance to turn this whole series around and show Europe where all the Spanish fire comes from. This could be the last game we see from any Spanish team this season. This is where Vodafone Giants need to make their last stand. Todo o nada.
Thank you very much, Trouble. It starts with success, I might say. We're getting ready to go into game number 4 of this series, and it is an important one. We can't hit on this hard enough. The Superliga, the Spanish league here at the Amazon EU Masters, came into the quarterfinals with 3 teams. Out of the 4 quarterfinals, funnily enough, only one of them didn't have a Spanish team in, and we are potentially losing all of them. The LFL have been on fire. This has been their year, and they are looking to upset the apple cart of being that we are just the spring champions. They want to prove that they are the summer champions as well. It's going to be a hard game for them as we get into picks and bans. Misfits Premier are on match point right now, and had a bit of a swap.
We have. So, of course, we've had our general speech rousing the troops for battle before we meet into the fray, potentially one last time. And I don't know, if I was on the battlefield, I'm sure I'd feel very emboldened. That's the word we kept going back to. So we may as well use that one last time if this were to end in a victory for Misfits Premier. However, we still see a lot of our similar bans, regardless of side changes. That's the Thresh, that's the Scion, nothing changed there.
Alrighty, we'll see what the next pickup's going to be. It's just the LeBlanc, so different sides, same band so far. Maybe we'll see a bit of attention go towards Miniduke's Silas. Had a pretty crushing game 2 in this series on that. See what the attention's going to be. This should more probably just be that Rakan ban, although there is obviously the opportunity for a second pick on it. I think they need to change up the attention on what we've been seeing, because obviously for the side of Vodafone Giants, we've been playing heavily towards this Braum as their pickup. Obviously we have had the lane swap, the side swap, so you can't just go Xin Zhao, Braum, but the Rise getting taken away, it was way too impactful last time around. And I feel like if you ban away the Silas here, you can, first rotation that Twisted Fate.
Potentially, but that's what we were asking in that last pick and ban phase. Of course, that had the extra caveat of the Rise being unbanned. That left out and kind of opened the pool a bit more, which also meant that you were happy to kind of, in a similar way to how Silas matches with the hijack of Twisted Fate's ultimate, you can match with the Realm Warp to a certain extent too. On first rotation is a very important anti-engage tool again, because Mrs. Premier, realistically, what they've been doing to Giants is just kind of clipping their wings in terms of how do you go forward in a fight. It's nice having an Olaf. That's great, but if he doesn't have anything to support him on the way and nothing to lock people in place where he starts actually getting to wail on people, then what's the point of picking that kind of champion? And I think that Giants will struggle, again, with these champions being removed, to find their way into a fight, as they have done in 2 of their losses.
We're actually seeing it's not Sertuss taking the Twisted Fate, it's actually Miniduke. I wonder if Sertuss decides to lean into the Silas himself and pick that one up, or if we're going to see maybe a little bit of adaptation. We've seen other things as well do answer out, but it looks like for now, going towards a bit of an older pick for the side of Misfits, which we saw in the first couple of games with Shlatan on the Lee Sin. So their next rotation is going to be what if they look for any carrier support, or maybe something that can answer out onto this Twisted Fate, so they don't reveal their hand too much. I kind of like the idea of just getting a mid laner here and just kind of going, right, keep your cards close to your chest, but no, Woolite has wanted to play this Aphelios a lot.
Yes, and as Dagda was saying on the desk, Aphelios has been very important for Misfits Premier, not just in a 2v2 sense in terms of brawling, but in terms of just getting that early shove. You know, if you have access to the wave as Aphelios, you get to start healing up from your Severum, you get to outrange with your Calibrum. As soon as you switch away from that, you get the Infernum too for the extra wave clear. Everything goes well for you on your first couple of guns. We haven't seen this guy the entire series so far. It'd be nice to see him at least once, and we are going to get the lock-in. That's a change.
I think it's a better pick for the Olaf, if I'm going to be honest, and I'll leave it there because I wasn't a fan. Let's see what Vodafone Giants are going to look to round out this first champ select with, though. So they are now thinking about most likely some kind of response for Attila into Woolite, unless they have plenty of other things prepared in that area towards the AD carry, and maybe just want to get himself a solid. Ooh, okay. I'm cool with that. I'm pretty cool with that because it's been banned away a lot, and like you said, it kind of offers a similar thing to what the Olaf does. Obviously, it's a lot squishier and can be shut down. But, you know, we've seen a lot of Kennens get put down in lane and then just carry late game fights.
That would be pretty cool to respond to it, though. Get themselves a skill matchup in that top lane yet again. Wouldn't be the Jace, but it would be something that's fairly explosive and it is locked in. So you have your Kennen, you have that ability to, once the fight starts, and actually I guess the best way to kind of look back at one of the most famous clips of this being in action was back in that 2016 Worlds when the Rocks Tigers did this to G2 in that very famous Kennen fight, is that you counter engage so well. You take that one half step forward, try to engage. If Kennen flashes onto you, you lose that fight. If you time your engage as well with a flash on that Slicing Maelstrom, you get to stop the fight before it realistically starts. And even if you don't find the perfect one, just splitting the team can be so important. Irelia in a 1v1 situation versus the Kennen certainly has a lot of outplay potential. If you dive into it in the team fight, though, into a gold card, into the Spectral Maw from Viego as well. It's a lot of CC to take down that Irelia, and if that's the first reset for the Viego in turn, that seems like a winning combo for the Vodafone Giants.
Yeah, what I like is you kind of hit on the CC, because Vodafone Giants are now working with a lot of CC. They have pit potential and team fight potential. There's a lot of things for them to work with. On the side of Misfits Premier, sure, you can obviously use things like the Moonlight Vigil with the Graviton. You obviously got the Instec and stuff like that, but like you've not got that hard engage. You've not got that kind of like, this is how our fights function. It's they want to keep Woolite alive. They want to have the Irelia to handle the Kennen in lane. But other than that, there's not anything really set in stone. We've seen the Braum, we've seen the Rel, we've seen the Orianna, we've seen the Silas banned away. I want to see some engage here. I think with the fact that the Braum's been taken away, they can look to pick up this Alistar. Jactroll had an amazing game #1 on this champion, and that was what I'm talking about. Maybe something else that can follow it up a little bit. Could suit them as well. Obviously, they are looking for a mid laner, so you're a little bit stretched on what you can pick up there on that front. We'll see what the rotation's going to be. As Vodafone Giants now looking to finish out this comp, getting a bit of mobility so they can play safely. We saw Attila pilot the Ezreal in the last game, and that is going to be the pick up here. Now looking towards that support pool for Kasing. Their final rotation. Obviously, he's lent heavily on the Braum for the last 3 games. And now looking towards something a little bit different as that has been denied from him.
Of course, the Rakan being banned away the whole series, rather, be very strange if it's banned away the whole season. That'd be rather terrifying. Has got to find themselves a new champion at this point. Looks like it will be the Leona, so not a new one for the series, one for one of these teams, though. One thing I want to touch on with the Alistar locked in against that, however, is that Kennen's great. Definitely helps the Antonio achieve that team fight presence that we saw in game 2. But if you've got, if you have now the Galio coming in as well, you have the heroic entrance coming in, you have the headbutt of the poor Pikachu out of the fight as well, and the Lee Sin kick, how do you stay in the fight? You can flash in, but there's like 3 things punting you out.
I bloody love this lock-in. I actually think Galio suits this comp so well. It's
the like global champion you forget.
He's the global champion you forget. He's got, you know, all the tools for it. He's got great wave clear. He's kind of pretty hard to kill. Like, obviously, he doesn't build like full tank, but he's still a fairly tanky champion just inherently. Obviously, you got that magic shield as well, and 2 of your damage threats are dealing magic damage. Technically, Ezreal, but a little bit of mixed in there. It's not the biggest magic shield, but it's there. It gives him a bit of survivability, but there's so much zone control Galio makes, because it's not just that heroic entrance, it's also the big taunt, that zone that if you step into it when it's fully charged, that's a long amount of CC. He can follow up on fights, he can start the fights. There's so much you can work with. I love this Galio pick. There are ways to shut it down, though. That's what they got to keep in mind. It's not like it's you know, infallible and it's the perfect champion. There's a reason that he's situationally picked. I think this is a good situation for him, but it is not like Vodafone Giants don't have answers. And let's be real, while this has been, you know, 2 very dominating wins from Misfits, Vodafone Giants have been scrapping. They have at least been contesting Misfits Premier.
They have, and very right of you to kind of focus in on a lot of the strengths of the Galio, because that magic shield is very useful, and it applies to everyone in the circle of your ultimate too. So Kennen goes in, actually a lot of the damage can be not nullified, but mitigated to a certain extent.
I think it's at the first hit would be, yeah.
Yeah, and actually going for the Predator as well, I'm gonna have to touch on that, because that allows you to, of course, when you're at lower ranks, you're not gonna match the same range as Twisted Fate. Having an extra Predator for the move speed to get in range for it does help you alleviate that problem. And
it hits a little different when it lands, so...
Guess that extra love tap on top of it. And I think the thing is, against a matchup like Twisted Fate as well, is that you were kind of talking about it, saying Galio is somewhat hard to kill. Of course, some champions have been picked into Galio, which kill him very easily. Irelia, very good into the Galio. Vayne, very famously played by Caps back in the day. But someone like Twisted Fate, sure, you can gold card, and if you overextend with the Viego nearby, yes, you're likely to be falling down for a couple of deaths, but you have the liberty in the 1v1 matchup to just go towards the Predator and have yourself more utility in the mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it loaded through onto the Rift for our 4th game of this series, and potentially the final game for the Superliga here at the Amazon EU Masters. It's not all doom and gloom, though. Vodafone Giants have shown tenacity. They have taken down Misfits Premier. They need to do it 2 more times, though, and it's a tall ask. It's in their hands. The ball is in their court. They finally got their hands onto the Viego. We'll see how they pilot it.
I know, between that and the speech, I'm getting shivers, Jay. We've got all of this drama and discourse culminating in this game. It feels like we've had ourselves a series of adaptations, which is, of course, one of my favorite things covering these kinds of events. You get to see the inner workings, see those cogs turning, seeing how these teams mind game their way towards eventual victory or defeat. Of course, this 2v2 has been a sore sticking point for Vodafone Giants. They are the ones, however, who get themselves first crack at this wave. They didn't end up giving a leash. Does mean that Aphelios, kind of talked about it in the break, doesn't get instant access to that wave, but waits for the minions to come back towards them, and soon rectifies that.
Well, it is an Alistar. You do expect to lose that level 1. It's a point I make every time. We all know it, but that's how that goes. Sertuss, not quite willing to commit right yet. Has now got himself that magic shield, and it's pops. But, you know, he's okay. He's going to just be able to catch the waves with the Colossal Smash in the Winds of War. Shlatan doing a full clear upwards, while 113 doing a full clear downwards, and Shlatan actually slowing down the clear, potentially looking to jump in. As Sertuss has got the flash on the taunt. He's now got that Justice Punch. Miniduke just going to have to flash here. Wardhop's in, the kick goes down. Gonna hold it for the moment. Can Wardhop forward, comes over the wall with a gold card as the Winds of War are laid down. They find themselves locked down actually onto Shlatan. He might be in for a whole lot of hurt here. Flashes away, jumps out to safety. Misfits Premier forcing the summoner spell from Miniduke. Shlatan does trade out.
Okay, so not a successful play, but sure as heck an entertaining one. Shlatan once again trying to win the least in mind games, because he gets the Sonic Wave, wants to follow up with the Resonating Strike, but wants to make sure there's a little bit of extra spice thrown in there first, because he flashes the other side of the wall, trying to duke out Miniduke as he potentially could have gone towards that. Then he finds 113 and waiting. So early tussle, not leading out to anything just quite yet. Misfits Premier are on the roam once more, though.
They know he's there. He was seen on that ward heading through. Sweeper's on. Gonna miss the kick from Shlatan, so I'm just gonna step away, and Jactroll affording some breathing room for Shlatan to steal this buff away is 113. It's just gonna have to give it up. There's not really too much he can do. He may get double crabbed and triple buffed this game. They're even roaming multiple members towards the bot side. As just look at the vision dominance they've got in this area.
That's rough. That's really rough. I mean, very close. Yeah, you dropped that, Mike. You deserve that one. All right. fair play. But Jactroll, I know you've had a lot of praise for him when we've been kind of over break, and of course we both did on that after that first game, thinking, heck, this guy's Alistar really, really good, even against that Sylas in that first game.
Yeah.
Gets himself onto the map very early and making his presence known. Of course, I think this game is largely going to depend on these big old engages from the Alistar, because, I mean, as much as you can flash Irelia into the fray, that Alistar with the combo is going to be a prime vector for Sertuss to follow up with that big ultimate.
And look at Shlatan. He's not even touched his red buff. He's now just starting his blue side clear up for the second time. He's barely touched his red side. Crab will get spotted out here by Sertuss, and now that he knows it is up and available, he will probably move into the area. Sertuss able to get some pressure in the nearby.
Funnily enough, in this same matchup, in the Lee Sin versus Viego is... okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I have to stop that thought.
Oh, Jactroll going for the insect on the cow. Got the trample stun to work with. There's the Sonic Strike, and it's first blood for Sertuss.
That is so dirty. That is so painful to watch. Jactroll, once again, finds himself a break in the waves down in bot lane and gets himself up towards mid. Heck, that is such a clean play. Finds himself in the right place at the right time, commits his flash, commits both summoners to it, finds himself on the board for another first blood in this tournament.
Just really lovely stuff there. Jactroll playing this nice and calm and collected. Beautiful little bait.
And what really more can you expect from Miniduke? Because he has wards on both sides, on both entrances to that one side. He stood over to the one side, but as he said, when you fully charge up that taunt, it is a long duration of CC, more than long enough, particularly without the flash available from Miniduke, to get out of range, to chain into certain death from the jungle mid support combo coming in from Mrs. Premier, which has been so potent in this series and in all other games as well. So first blood down, and Misfits Premier, once again, much like in all the rest of the games, have found themselves an advantage. Question is, how do they leverage it now? Can they get themselves the Heralds, which they have failed to in the very last game?
Shlatan still hasn't done his red buff, by the way. It's still level 1.
I was about to make this point, but we had a game like this in the NLC where I believe it was something like 5 minutes 30 by, I think it was Team Singularity's jungler, who was in this exact matchup and just pulling out the Viego because he knows he doesn't even need the red buff to win at that point. He's just going to...
I mean, the Beast Burger is bullying him out as they're going to jump in onto him. They've got the gold card, but the Galio is coming in. Kasing knocked up Shlatan, finds the Sonic Strike. There's the taunt, and there's the kill. Sertuss just takes him down, jumping in with a special ward. They found a Justice Punch off for a cheeky little knock up as the gold card. Just going to be irritating. Shlatan jumps in. The two-man knock up. The Winds of War weren't placed in the right place. Now they've got the Destiny, they've got the Vision. Here comes the Antonio. The Woolite's going to join in, trying to get the safety off the Shlatan. They're trying to get him out. He's able to jump away. Oh no, it's gone oh so wrong for Vodafone Giants.
But it could have got even worse. They still managed to get out with a couple of blinking health bars, very, very low, but above 0, and that's what matters. Oh, the stun, not able to follow through, as of course Antonio lands that mark of the storm for Misfits Premier. We knew they liked to scrap, but that is some edgier seat action.
That was unbelievably close, but Misfits Premier are the team who come out ahead, and 1,400 is the gold lead here at 8 minutes, and got the whip finished up. Shlatan still not on that top side Krugs or red buff, but he'll go pick it up at some point.
I get...
No, he won't. The crab spawning on top bot side, so he's going there instead.
He doesn't need it. We've got it all in on the top side.
Oh, he's jumping in. Agresivoo going to force the flash out from the Antonio. It's just good stuff.
It's good stuff. I mean, doesn't have to use the flash themselves. Potentially could have flash auto queued. Not sure it would have been enough damage because they have stopped off the Merc Treads first. Maybe didn't want to tangle with a couple of tower shots factored into the equation as well. But Mr. Premier, I know that this tournament is largely an advertising post for a lot of what these players want to do in the future as well. This is a great place to showcase your talent, but I mean, you don't need to make a montage all in one series. You can save it for the others, you know.
Absolutely crushing start to this game, as this is potentially the earliest dragon we've had of this series.
They've just not, not really come into it at all, have they? I mean, there was the one soul in game 1, but that was a Cloud Soul. Didn't really amount to much, but you're right. It's been
game
more
2.
about...
That was game 2.
Game 2, you're right, yes. Yeah, but like largely the soul hasn't been the big win condition. I think that's something that we've been kind of seeing across professional League of Legends, where you are seeing teams less likely to give up a dragon for a gold power play where they can get plays, they can get a dive.
Yeah.
What a dragon is largely low risk, right? Because you don't always have to take the big fight, but you can take them uncontested. And it's something for nothing a lot of times, particularly if you do get it towards one of the higher value souls, which we are probably going to get in this game.
Oh no, Miniduke has to flash.
Why would you go towards dragons when you can fight like that? Of course, they already have that one as well. But Miniduke is just, he's having a bad time. He's had a rough day.
He has indeed, as Shlatan gonna pick up the eye. He is wanting to potentially go topside. Go to your red buff, man. It's still up. It's still level 1.
That is literally the first. That is still the first buff.
Those that and the Krugs are still level 1. The Antonio's being chased down, and he's gonna get caught out by the taunt. The Nikes are on, and he's locked down. Slicing Maelstrom will not be enough as Agresivoo with a Blade Surge will seal the deal. Now the teleport's breaking out to make sure the bot side are also not going to be punished. Sertuss is all over the map like a rash right now. The Gravitum can lock him in place, but it's not going to be necessary. Vodafone Giants can't even make a cross map without Sertuss showing up.
And you still got his ultimate too. You can go in with the Twisted Fate if you really want to, but there's the grand entrance, or rather the heroic entrance afterwards. From top to bottom. I mean, funny you mentioned and invoked the name of Nike. That was the winged goddess of victory back in the Hellenic era. And Sertuss certainly seems like a bit of a divine intervention coming in for some of these plays. Gets absolutely everywhere.
Is this him? Antonio, you got cancelled, all right? Nope, he's not. Okay, so second charge out as well. Big chunk of that tower means that, honestly, that's a fairly easy cash in for the Agresivoo to pick himself up some gold.
It's such a luxury turret too. You rarely get that early into the game, but he didn't have flash, he didn't have ultimate, certainly doesn't have a stopwatch. The amount of gold that he's got in this game right now, you look at Agresivoo, if he's gone over the wall, Antonio kind of has to stay there. He can't risk dying again, otherwise he bleeds out of this game super fast.
Yeah, he really does. And Woolite able to walk this wave in as he knows his team are making their way over. Going to clear out some of this vision and just get himself a bit of control on the red side. Miniduke has to be careful as Agresivoo's looking to lock him down with a flawless duet. Taunt's going to land into the Vanguard's edge. Able to find the kill just like that. In the meanwhile, Woolite just continues to farm up plate after plate. And they're just going to take towers here in the mid side. Honestly, Vodafone Giants just look entirely lost. Even in their other losses, they have looked like they've had some kind of semblance of how to play versus the aggression from Misfits Premier. But Misfits are just, this is like a different team from Misfits Premier.
Oh, something had, the switch has been flipped. This is nasty. This is no holds barred, no chosen is taken in this one. And you see the bot lane being rotated mid. I think that's a very necessary adaptation for Vodafone Giants right now, because you need to be able to respond to these fights quicker, because you are losing in the global trade. You have the Twisted Fate. That's cool, but if Sertuss is walking, using his own, using his boots to get to the play rather than using his ultimate, then he has the ability to fly back to where he just came from and impact that play again. And Vodafone Giants seem to be at a complete loss because, as you said, that wave clear, particularly when you have a lot of extra gold put onto a Galio, means that Miniduke just hasn't had the luxury of being able to get that priority.
Does look like Jactroll's just hanging around in the mid side, and Finally, Shlatan's going to do his level 1 red buff. And then he'll maybe do his Krugs. We'll see. No, the Krugs are going to stay level 1 forever this game. Dragon spawning up in 50 seconds, so looking to turn their attention towards that.
One of the rare Krug conservationalists. I used to say that about dragons, beautiful beasts they are. I'm sure they're an endangered species. Certainly not in this series, though. Turns out we've gone a bit of a... Oh, gosh! Champion's gone on that list, though.
What a knock-up. Shlatan's looking for the kick. Woolite jumps in. Attila almost sniped out, able to survive for now as Kasing comes in with a slow. True Shot Barrage is here. Here comes the Galio. Gold card on. The Antonio can't even get close. There's Woolite able to find the first victim of the fight. The slicing Maelstrom, and Antonio will lose his life to Shlatan. And just like that, Misfits Premier will push their advantage even further.
But what do you expect? Miniduke flies into the fight, uses his own ultimate, tries to make the proactive play, something that we asked of them in game 1. They changed it for game 2. And then the Galio ult comes out. So Antonio has a crack at it. And then he gets Lee Sin kicked over the wall. There's just enough available and willing to be brought to bear by Misfits Premier to completely stun every single one of these players. We're going to go see it live on this replay. Well, it's not live on the replay. We're going to see it in the replay. Jactroll decides enough is enough, and champions are not on the conservation list. The Shlatan is there to help him out. He has himself a very early ultimate popped as well, so he gets the full value out of the Unbreakable Will. and 1-3-3 immediately shoved out of the fight. The one way you win this is an early reset, and it just doesn't happen. 1-1-3 zoned out by the ult, as is Miniduke. You can see the kick away of the Kennen. There's just no way to combo up and start getting the ball rolling with the resets.
And it's looking like we're going to have that mountain. So Attila chunked out heavily. The exhaust goes down, but Sertuss will lock him in place. Shlatan gets his second kill of the game. And this was a 13-plate game for Misfits to start us off. They are going to be looking to try and pick up this final tower. Obviously, plates have fallen off, and Sertuss is just having a great time. He just has no cares in the world.
I mean, at this point, you've got a no tower taken game, no kills. Was the Herald taken? This is on track for a perfect game, dare I say?
I think you just jinxed it, but yeah, okay. Agresivoo.
Oops, sorry.
No, minions have died, so it's not a perfect game.
Minions have died. Oh no, they let them.
Yeah.
They let them leave the base plate. My mistake.
Can't be a perfect game if they have the CS. That's all I'm gonna say. If they have items, it's not perfect. Anyway, but they are on track. You are correct. They are on track for a perfect game. Someone kill those Krugs, please. Put them out of their misery. They're suffering.
That's very aggressive. I've got some conservationists which have some harsh words for you, Hiprain.
Darwin Fury. Woolite flashes away. Moonlight Vigil down into the Graviton as the rest of the team is joining in. Teleports on. Miniduke losing a lot of health. There's the Warthopper. Instantly into the gold card. Jactroll finds the knock-up. Antonio comes in with the slicing maelstrom. Slattan's going low. You might have jinxed it. No, you didn't. You sure as hell didn't. It's still on track to be perfect. Look at the dashing. Look at the reset. Shlatan! It's not the perfect game, but it's goddamn clean nonetheless. Misfits Premier are playing their hearts out in this game number 4.
Oh, okay. Not perfect, but sure as hell entertaining. I think we said that once or twice in this series as well, but Misfits Premier, once again, it feels like the switch has been flipped. They just choose to fight. They say, now is the time. Woolite takes the early flash. And this is something which I love about what Woolite does here. He just doesn't chance it. He doesn't end up greed that summoner. And look at how Agresivoo plays this fight. Look at how quickly he gets onto the backline. Uses one reset to get himself forward, to kind of daisy chain forward for the E. He's got himself fully marked up. Gets to go through the backline minions. And this Irelia, once that's stacked up, the mobility advantage, which is something which I keep referring to in so many casts because it shows up in plays like this, is so hard to disengage from. If you haven't ended the fight on the onset of it, good luck getting out of that.
And I know in game number 1 or 2, I believe, we talked about the gold lead and, you know, how gold lead isn't always reflective of the game state. It's pretty reflective of the game state right now. We are hella up. Or hella down, depending on who you're supporting right now.
We are distinctly neutral ground here, Hiprain. I won't be getting involved in this France-Spain rivalry. I know I've cast a couple of them, but you've got to walk the razor's edge on this one.
Hey, man, it's about regional pride. That's what this whole tournament's about, man. It's about showing everybody else what you guys are made of. And the LFL, that is built different. Let's be real.
They're made of some very aggressive stuff, as it seems. As this has been a scary display of talent here.
Shlatan, it's going to need a little bit of CC, but with Jactroll waiting around, with the fact that there's a Galio off in the wings as well, it's just oh so hard. Where he's getting shot. Oh, Jactroll! That was unbelievably cool. The taunt lands on the 2, and it's going to be an absolute whitewash. Miniduke just going to teleport out, and Shlatan will hunt him down. The gold card fired up, the Rift Herald summoned, and they're looking for the kick. The gold card won't do much as Shlatan jumps in, the Quarterfinals procs, he'll survive, and Miniduke won't support the ace. Are we going to be getting a Dancing Herald this game? That is the real question, as the inhibitor will go down. I don't think we're going to get a Dancing Herald, but they got the minions to work with. Misfits Premier might be looking at an unbelievably fast game, as they've already been able to take one of the Nexus towers, and it's a rampage as Kasing is killed on the doorstep. Vodafone Giants are running out of options as Agresivoo jumping into the face. The health bars are low, but even with them being this low, they can't even find the charity of the kills. The Antonio taunted up, and he will be taken down by Shlatan. The gold card, oh so long range, but not even close enough. This game has been an absolute display of superior talent here from Misfits Premier.
I'm glad we got the replay. Actually, I'm very glad they didn't finish the Nexus so we can witness this.
Oh,
that is as clean as you like. We saw some Premier, top shelf, top of the range Alistar play in that first game. And oh my god, if he hasn't reprised it in this last one. What an absolute pleasure it is to be seeing these teams in their absolute prime.
Just unbelievable from
That's just
Jactroll.
unfair.
His incredible impact in game one. Miniduke, I think you might be getting yourself murdered. That is an easy kill for Agresivoo. 506. 2 items on the Irelia.
I mean,
And the Superliga are looking to say goodbye to their final representative here at the Amazonian Masters. We're now 20 minutes on the clock, and the pings are going down to Baron.
and I mean, Mrs. Premier sending off what seems like a Viking burial as they just set the whole ship alight and just shove them into the water. Vodafone Giants, they have been well and truly outplayed in this game. It has, at points, been closely fought. The game which they won was incredibly exciting to see, and I am glad that we didn't just get a 3-0 series. I'm glad we got to get more game time between these ones, but once again, we've reached that point where you are only expecting miracles to bring yourself out of this kind of ditch. Well, if that ain't the saddest state of affairs, I don't know what else is. Agresivoo kind of showed himself the card trick earlier and just made the whole deck disappear, and Shlatan just...
Come on, Shlatan, don't play with my heart. Your team are playing bonkers. I actually kind of expected him to take that one. As the siege is going to start up here for Misfits Premier, Vodafone Giants running out of options. The taunts coming in, the teleport for the flank, but it's too little. It's too late. The solar flare's there, and Kasing will lose his life. There's the slicing maelstrom. They may find that little turnaround. Woolite's dead actually, but the knock-up is on. The 1-1-3 is trying to find the fire, but he will lose his life. The rest of the team are just being run over. Agresivoo will lose his life. The shield won't be enough. It might be a shutdown, but they will lose the last hope for the Superliga. Misfits Premier put on an unbelievably crisp series, and this game 3 makes them look like one of the scariest teams I've seen in a very, very long time. 22 minutes on the clock, and Vodafone Giants fall to the LFL first seed.
They take down 7 Giants' lives for every one they lose themselves. 22 kills to 3, actually slightly over that at that point. Not quite the perfect game, and I apologize deeply towards the LFL fans for bringing up even the notion of a perfect game. But honestly, if you can't achieve a perfect game even with the Gate Jinx, what's even the point of doing it at that point? I'm very scared for Fnatic Rising, Hiprain. I'm very scared for them. That was incredible.
I mean,
that is the kind of performance which leaves you almost breathless and out of words, even though we do a lot of talking for a living.
It's scary for Fnatic Rising, but I also think it's scary for the other teams. I mean, this is the Misfits that beat KC. This is the Misfits that are the first seed for the LFL. They look on another level right now. Now, I am not going to write off any of the other teams because I think we have some incredible teams here left in the European Masters, but goddamn, that was a masterclass from the side of Misfits Premier, and I can't wait to hear what the dev's going to say about that one and what, you know, what's going to be the breakdown on this series and their outlook on our 4 teams, because they're now all locked in. But for us, we are going to do, that'll be the end of us here on the casting desk. We're going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll have our analyst desk to talk a little bit more about this Misfits Premier win. So we'll see you in a moment.
Queen without the S as the last Superliga representative drops out of the Amazon European Masters. And Trouble, I guess it was not after all.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of painful to watch the last Superliga team fall out just like this. I felt like no matter how hard they tried, it seems like they just were not versatile enough when it came to the drafts, when it came to the picks. They were very easy to read. And at the end of the day, I feel like Misfits read them so well to the point where they were able to run them down so easily.
Yeah, and I think this is a style that definitely is meta-aligned, right? When you're going to play these tanky top laners, you're going to be looking to like heavily focus around AD carries. That can work and has worked previously. Unfortunately, that's just not what we're seeing at the moment.
So all 3 Superliga seeds have been knocked out of the quarterfinals. At the beginning of the week, we said that LFP, when it rises to the occasion, they don't really see how they can step up. Then again, Mrs. Premier look hella scary.
Honestly, they look so scary. I feel like that mid-jungle duo absolutely destroyed the series. I know I said I'm a big Shlatan fangirl, but it is for a reason. This guy is ballsy when he plays the game. He would just dive into situations, even alone. He would create opportunities for his team. He knew exactly where he had priority, and he took advantage of that instantly, pushing his opponents out of the jungle, grabbing both scuttle crabs, pushing me, then being bot suddenly. Wait, your top lane's getting ganked? He's there too. It was absolutely fantastic watching Shlatan play the game.
And in the beginning of the day, we also kind of appreciate a Woolite as well. It's crazy to me that he got Aphelios 4 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, he consistently got this pick, especially against the Ezreal as well, consistently having shove. And it unlocked what I thought was kind of the big key for this was Jactroll as well, right? The mid-jungle's all well and good, but it's also having Jactroll as part of that equation. And it's something that we've been harping on a lot about. I want to give a shout out to Veteran as well, who's been singing these guys' praises for so long. The strongest jungle support that we'd seen in EU Masters back in spring. We're seeing it as well now coming to summer. This has been such a potent combination for Misfits Premier, and now we're getting to really see the results, especially against these teams that don't highly focus around their solo laners.
Now, I'm curious to see what's up next for them, because they will end up against Fnatic Rising, that
boy,
is.
I'm sweating a little bit, I'm sweating.
Yeah, Trouble, you as an NLC enjoyer.
NLC weeb?
This is going to be a tough one for them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like even Fnatic Rising are a team that do like to play towards the top side of the map, but they sort of have a very similar style to the one that Misfits do. They always have the insurance down at the bottom with being the same that Misfits do with Woolite, and they do like to play around their mid-jungle, which is Max and Dayor. Just like seeing Misfits play though today, it feels like a completely different monster. And even though we didn't have a lot of expectations coming in for Fnatic Rising, they did raise the bar themselves, but have they raised it far enough?
I mean, they have to deal with Agresivoo on the Irelia, who was also a very big part in that win. It looks like every lane on the side of Mrs. Premier showed up today. He will be facing off against Pride, and Pride, yeah, I think Pride showed some latency in Fnatic Rising, so I'm curious how that lane plays out.
Yeah, I think the big one for me is that we've seen multiple different styles from Agresivoo over the years, right? When you've like seen him back in kind of 2019, he was all about the Jarvan tops. He was very comfortable in that meta. We've seen him now develop into having a lot more of these like the Jaces. We got to see the Irelia today. He's able to play these more carry-oriented styles. I think Agresivoo is someone who flourishes in several different styles of meta and also several different styles of champions, but getting very limited resources to go that direction. So I think we're going to see a really strong matchup there, and seeing if Pride is going to be able to match up with the depth of champions that we know Agresivoo has available to him.
So as we round out today, all our quarterfinals have been played. We know what our semifinals are. We talked about Mrs. Premier, Fnatic Rising. Now I also want to look at the other best of 5 that is happening in the semifinal. K-Corp against Big. Both teams already have a European Masters title, and they both are looking for their second one. And even to make it more of a high-stakes game for K-Corp, it would even be a back-to-back.
It would even be a back-to-back. It would be an absolute record. I think it would be really hard to break after this. 2 trophies and back-to-back. But man, I feel like Big have that X factor. They're coming in and they're coming in hot. And even though, yes, Kamen Cup 3-0 the series, Big did as well. And they both look scary. They're both early game macro-oriented teams. So So I just can't wait to see them going head-to-head.
Yeah, and the big one was just the speed at which Big were able to take over the map. You're going to be tested here as Misfits Premier. Are you able to keep up with that? Now, I think we saw good things today in their ability to control that level, you know, getting a lot of pushing waves, working well through their priority, but you're going to need to able to do that tenfold against Big, or you run the risk of falling prey to just how quickly they take over games.
I feel like you're talking a bit into the future because Big is facing off against K-Corp first. Yeah. To pick up on that point about Rift Herald, K-Corp and Rift Herald isn't really a match made in heaven for Big. It kind of is of what we've seen in that series against. Now I need to think PDW.
PDW, yeah. I think Big are so good at taking, in general, very early game leads. But what they really love to do is, because they're such a fast-paced team, taking the Rift Herald means that you're going to open a tower on the map, and then you can rotate around your strong member in the team to take yet another tower on another pressure lane. And through that, they sort of bleed their pressure into the map, they bleed their vision into the map, and they deprive everyone on the opponent team of any resources. But I feel like K-Corp is a team that cannot be underestimated when it comes to that, because yes, the Rift Herald is their nemesis, but once they stack these dragons and once Big is going to have to face them in team fights, I think K-Corp really shines there.
You know what's also crazy to me? At the start of these quarterfinals, we named the big three, and all three of them are still in. All three teams, Big, K-Corp, and Misfits Premier, have already won European Masters, and I'm going to be honest, I don't expect anyone else than one of these three teams, or two of these three teams, ending up in that final. So I'm thinking we're going to have a org that is going to be having a first-time, two-star, I would say, for the European Masters.
Yeah, and the big question is, like, all right, well, can Fnatic Rising, one, play upset in that scenario? Or two, will we see Karmine Corp not only getting this getting it a second time, but back-to-back as well, really solidifying themselves as kind of their own little dynasty that they've set up in 2021?
We'll have to see and wait for what's to come, because that will be upcoming Tuesday, what we see there. So let's take a look of what we will see first. On Tuesday, it's going to be a K-Corp against Big, followed on the Wednesday by Misfits Premier and Fnatic Rising. And as I hear here on the couch, it's something you don't want to miss out on.
Yeah.
Not a hope. Not a hope. I mean, look, regardless, I'm not even on Tuesday. I'm going to be sitting back at the hotel, popcorn, feet up, ready to watch these games. It is going to be insane.
I'm going to bring out my brain versus heart predictions again, so we'll see if they will reign supreme.
Our biggest takeaways coming from these quarterfinals, now back into the semifinals. We talked a lot about drafts, we talked a lot about mid-jungle supports. This is the crème de la crème, if I just go back into my French.
Bias. Come on, you can't be having that on the desk.
I mean, I won't be here anymore. It's going to be Lord taking over, so there's going to be enough bias on the desk.
Yeah, I think, again, for me, it's the mid-jungle support, the ability to play at the map, the ability to play through solo laners, looking at Nymaera talked about it throughout the cast, like your ability to actually stop going for dragons, looking towards Rift Heralds, getting these big gold advantages. It's what we're actually seeing teams work well off of, using those cross maps. This is what, to me, stands out at League of Legends in summer 2021.
We'll have to wait and see, because I think it's time to say goodbye, because we are at the end of the day. Once again, Misfits Premier take the victory and are moving on to the semifinals that you don't want to miss. Come back Tuesday for more Amazon European Masters. And for now, I wish you a good night.